Hey guys, today you are starting a new unit on motion and momentum, and with that unit we have some calculating to do to find values for speed, distance, and time. So for today you're going to be doing a Nearpod, a student pace Nearpod, so be sure to check that out if you haven't already. And in that Nearpod, you're going to learn about how to find speed, distance, and time. So I wanted to work out a couple problems with you here first before you do your assignment for today. So you're going to see this formula triangle quite a bit in this unit. And we have D for distance in the top of our triangle, S for speed in the bottom left, and T for time in the bottom right. So it's important for you to memorize this formula triangle because it's going to make finding speed, distance, and time a lot easier as far as remembering the formulas for each one of those. So starting with speed, we measure speed in meters per second. Typically, sometimes you may see kilometers per hour, but speed is you're going to have a distance and you're going to have that divided by a time. Our distance typically is measured in meters. It may also be measured in kilometers from time to time. Some of your word problems that you'll do today, they have distance measured in miles. And then time, typically measured in seconds. You may also have minutes or hours. So let's go ahead and dive in and get started with these formulas. So like I said, the formula triangle is going to be really helpful for you guys. Two things that I want to add into the one that you already have here, and I have this in your folder for today, so you can print that out if you need to. But two things I want to add in are a division sign, and I'm going to add that in right here. Try to make that nice and bold for y'all. And I'm also going to add in a multiplication sign right in between the S and the T. So the reason that I'm doing that is to help us to remember the formulas for how to find distance, then how to find speed, and how to find time. So I want to show you how we're going to do that. So the first formula we have down here is distance equals speed multiplied by time. So you have a word problem. It says a car traveled at 50 kilometers an hour for 2 hours. How far did it travel? So the first thing we're going to do is map out what we have. So 50 kilometers an hour, that's telling us speed. For 2 hours, that's giving us time. And then it says how far. So we're looking for distance. So using the formula triangle, whatever you're looking for, cover it up. So I'm going to cover up the D because I don't have distance. And then that tells me that distance equals speed times time. So that's how you're going to use your formula triangle to help you solve for these problems. So then I'm just going to come down here, set my equation up so I know that distance is speed multiplied by time. And at that point, you just plug your numbers in. Y'all know how to do this. 50 multiplied by 2 hours. So our distance would be 100. And then any time that you have an answer in science, you want to make sure that you have a unit behind it. So if we're looking for distance, we know that we're going to have a unit for distance. So looking up here at what they gave us speed in kilometers per hour. So the distance unit that they already used was kilometers. So our answer would be in kilometers, 100 kilometers. All right, we're going to move on down to the next section. So here, you're obviously solving for speed, and they give you the formula. Let's go ahead and map out what we have from our word problem and then decide what we're trying to find. So a police car traveled at 50 kilometers in 0.5 hours. How fast did it go? So 30 kilometers, we know that's our value for distance. In 0.5 hours, we know that's our value for time. So we are solving for speed. So again, using your formula triangle, whatever we're solving for, cover it up. So we don't know what speed is, so we covered it up. So then we can know our formula for speed, distance divided by time. And they have that written down below for us anyway, but that's how you're going to use your triangle. So let me go ahead and set up speed. It's going to equal distance divided by time. At that point, again, you just plug your numbers in. Distance is 30 kilometers divided by time, 0.5 hours. And I'm going to plug that into a calculator. and you should get speed equaling 60, and then make sure you put your units in. I divided kilometers by hours, so my speed is going to be measured in kilometers per hour. Getting kind of wonky here, but that's okay. Make sure you put in your units of measure. And then our last example here before you get started on your own. They give us your formula, time equals distance divided by speed. Let's go ahead and map out what we have. A man runs 100 meters at a speed of 10 meters per second. How long did this take? So our first value, 100 meters. We know that meters would be distance at a speed of 10 meters per second. So we have speed. And they say how long did this take? So long is going to indicate time, which we don't know. So again, coming up here, using your formula triangle, we're trying to solve for time, so you would cover that up, and then we have left distance divided by speed. So that's how you're going to use your formula triangle. So just memorize your triangle, and then you'll be able to solve for any of these. All right, back down to our problem here. So then we're going to map out time is distance divided by speed. At that point, you plug in your numbers, distance of 100 meters divided by a speed of 10 meters per second. And our time would equal 10, and then don't forget your units. So anytime you divide a unit by a unit, those meters would cancel out, and you're left with seconds. So time would equal 10 seconds. Okay, pretty straightforward. Again, I can't emphasize this enough. Memorize your formula triangle. That's going to make your life so much easier instead of having to memorize 1, 2, and 3 different formulas. Just memorize your triangle, and you'll be able to solve for speed, distance, and time very easily in that way. Again, go over your Nearpod for today, and then you have some practice problems to do. Just to note, on your practice problems, that's going to be listed as an assessment. You have 2 attempts on that. When you're answering those, and I put these instructions on your on the assessment itself and the directions, but when you're answering those, you're going to have to put your value and your unit of measure followed by that. Don't put any spaces. So if the answer to one of your problems on your assessment today was 100 kilometers, I would put 100 km, no spaces at all, okay? The other thing, if you end up with a decimal in your answer, round to the nearest whole number. So if I had 100.8, I would round that to 101, and then kilometers if the unit was kilometers. So no spaces in your answers and round to the nearest whole number. Otherwise, it's going to mark it wrong because it has to be exact. But you have 2 attempts on that, so by the second attempt, you should have it down pat. If you have questions, message me directly, and best of luck. Have a good day.